Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence. At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence. But that's not fair. Did you actually think you could best me in court? It looks like the last laugh's on you, son. I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth? True. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal. Well, Mr. Wright? It seems at last. The time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived. Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? That you purposefully and illegally concealed this piece of cloth? I so did not! Certainly, I refused to present evidence at one point. Aha! So the evidence is illegal. No, it isn't, Mr. Gant. Huh? It's not that I didn't present evidence then, it's that I couldn't. What do you mean you couldn't? There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence. No, Archie, don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a coward. You can't let him. There is only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? Very well, let us settle this once and for all. Earlier you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now. Take that! This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. What's this? I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Ema Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in this book, the second rule of evidence law. Rule number 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself, inside your safe. It goes without saying I did not have approval from the police department. Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case in trial. And here's the crux in the matter. You see, at the time it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident. What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and... Sorry, but can you recall, when was that picture presented? That was shown only a few moments ago. No! He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gant. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest? Oh, yes! No! It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the Chief of Police, personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in its final moments. In other words, the real murderer, and there's only one person who that could be. Damon Gant! The killer was you! I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum! For 2 years he's been snooping around the department trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me. Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr, then convinced Bruce Goodman. Detective Goodman? Yeah, that's right. If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you've gotta help me.
Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit.
He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence.
Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden he had to speak out.
What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered.
He told me to open up the evidence room and take it out. It's not too late. I'll hand this to Marshall. Well, to be honest, I was a little panicked too. I had a bad feeling about it, but never knew it would come to this. That's when I saw it. The accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out.
You would only increase the amount of blood and you couldn't finish what you started.
Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I was wiping it up. I was worrying so much about the floor I didn't realize my mistake.
Detective Gumshoe's bloody handprint.
I used to be known as the crime computer, but everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it.
Then you put the body in my car?
I'm sorry, we couldn't think of any other way to move the body. We broke the trunk, but what's the big deal? You pulled down a lot more than us detectives.
Well, what does this have to do with anything? You're horrible! How could you get Miss Sky involved in all of this?
Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out.
So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker?
I feel bad for having to do it. I couldn't sit around and pick and choose what to take.
Well, you left the jar fragment and gloves.
Yeah. It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay.
Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that.
Tell me, Worthy, what are you doing in court?
Me?
You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day, you'll understand. If you want to take them on alone, you'll figure out what's needed. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Archie.
What?
Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend.
I'm sorry too, Damon Gant. I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator, and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person.
Those days are gone now, Archie. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now that you have Wright here, and Worthy, with these two around, you can't go wrong. You see, if I listen carefully, I can hear it right now. The sound of a new beginning.
There are two things I want you to understand.
Yes?
First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Sky, you no longer have any reason to keep silent.
You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years, from the time I had Gant help me forge evidence up until today.
So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered.
I'm sorry, Miss Sky. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble. My. What high standards you have. for a rookie. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows? A few years from now, you just might make it to the top. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright.
Miss Sky.
And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you.
It was nothing. Liar.
I was worried the pressure might break you, and yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth.
Stop it. I only did my job. In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Sky.
Yes, Your Honor?
You are innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as his accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date.
Yes, I understand, Your Honor.
Is there something amusing about all of this? Why are you smiling?
It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains.
Well, this trial has gone on far too long already. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Sky, not guilty. Freaking-ly! That is all. The court is adjourned. 5:03 p.m., jeez. At long last, it's finally over. Ima? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook, but at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit.
No, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended, I can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. You've done well. You know, I did my best too, but Lana didn't say a single word to me.
Hope I'm not interrupting anything. Not this again. Oh, yes I am. I'll come back later. Ah, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run all around while on duty? And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Hey, lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding.
Oh, are you here because of my sister again?
Nope, not this time. I came today because of you, pal.
Me?
That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone.
Lana!
Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell if you won't.
Ima, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day, 2 years ago, was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess. Sis, I asked Gant to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake. But now, I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew.
But sis, you were only doing it for me.
No.
Huh?
I turned my back on you that day. In hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you.
Sis,
I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Ema, I'm so sorry.
But sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now.
You're happy?
Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have.
Oh, Ema. Ema,